Welcome to Informed Tourist. This is your traveling guru, Curtis, bringing you some more informative information. Here comes the facts. Have you ever driven through an American city and felt like you'd crossed into a different country? One minute you're on a street with manicured lawns and boutique coffee shops, the next a wrong turn, and suddenly the houses are smaller, the roads are cracked, and the grocery store looks more like a fortress. It's a tale of two cities, often separated by nothing more than a highway or railroad tracks. These divisions weren't accidental. They were designed, built, policy by policy, over generations. It's like a video game where one player starts with all the cheat codes and the other's controller is broken. The neighborhood you're born into shapes your life, from the school you attend to how long you'll live, and trust me, this problem wasn't an accident, it was a blueprint. America loves the idea of a fair race, everyone lined up at the same starting line, ready to sprint toward success. But for millions, the race is rigged from the start. Some runners face hurdles they didn't put there, while others have a clear path. This isn't about talent or effort, it's about the difference between choices and chances. Choosing to study is a choice. Having a quiet, safe home and well-funded schools, that's a chance. Choosing to eat healthy is a choice. Having access to fresh groceries instead of just fast food, that's a chance. We judge people for their choices but rarely ask what chances they had. The zip code you grow up in is one of the greatest predictors of your economic mobility, health, and life expectancy. It's not because people in poorer neighborhoods make worse choices, it's because their menu of chances is drastically shorter. They're navigating a system designed to limit their opportunities. The legacy of that design lingers in schools, banks, and neighborhoods. So when we see deep inequality, the question isn't what's wrong with those people, but what's wrong with the system. Blaming individuals for systemic failures is like blaming a fish for not climbing a tree. To understand disparities, we have to look at the currents pushing people in different directions, often before they even learn to swim. It's time to focus less on the swimmers and more on the water they're in. To understand today's America, you have to rewind the clock. Over 2 centuries of slavery didn't just deny black people freedom, it blocked them from building wealth or owning property. After slavery, Jim Crow laws enforced segregation, dictating where black people could live, work, and go to school. These laws created black and white neighborhoods, ensuring resources flowed to one and not the other. The most devastating blow came in the 1930s, when the federal government created color-coded maps, redlining. Black neighborhoods were outlined in red, making it nearly impossible to get a mortgage. Meanwhile, white families got government-backed loans, building equity and generational wealth. This is the bedrock of today's inequality. The parents and grandparents of people alive today were directly impacted. The wealth white families built through homeownership was systematically denied to black families. So when you see a massive wealth gap, it's not about work ethic. It's the predictable result of a system designed to enrich one race at the expense of another. The game was rigged, and the scoreboard still shows it. This isn't ancient history, it's living memory. The past is still running in the background, shaping the present. Let's talk numbers. The median net worth of a white household in America is about $188,000. For a black household, just $24,000. That's not a gap, it's a canyon. This disparity has persisted for decades, echoing the historical policies we just discussed. Wealth isn't just money, it's security, opportunity, and the ability to weather a storm. The wealth gap drives disparities in where you live, the quality of your schools, and whether you can start a business or pay for college. Black-owned businesses receive less than their fair share of government contracts, not because they're less capable, but because the system is riddled with bias. Even today, black families face modern redlining, more likely to be denied mortgages or offered worse terms than white applicants with similar finances. The system has already decided their investment is riskier, simply because of their skin color and neighborhood. Telling people to save more ignores the reality that the economic system was built to exclude black Americans. The wealth gap is not a personal failing. It's the result of a multi-generational, government-sponsored, wealth-stripping program. It's the cumulative interest on centuries of stolen opportunity. Until we address the structural reasons for this gap, it will continue to fuel inequality in every aspect of American life. The numbers don't lie. The system was built this way. Inequality isn't just about money. It's about life and death. A recent study found over 1.6 million excess deaths among Black Americans compared to whites in just 20 years. Black women are 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications, not because of biology, but because their pain is dismissed and their care is limited. Environmental racism means 80% of America's waste incinerators are in Black, Latinx, and low-income communities. In places like Williamsburg County, South Carolina, there's only one primary care doctor for every 5,000 residents. The CDC has declared racism a public health threat because the evidence is overwhelming. From gun violence to heart disease, the pattern is clear. Your race shouldn't be a pre-existing condition, but in America, it often is. The health gap is a direct, tragic consequence of the wealth and justice gaps. Nowhere are America's racial disparities more visible than in the criminal justice system. Black Americans are 13% of the population, but nearly 40% of the incarcerated. This isn't about crime rates, it's about being policed, charged, and sentenced more harshly. Black drivers are searched and arrested at double the rate of whites, even though contraband is found at similar or lower rates. Black people are over 3 times more likely to experience force from police. The war on drugs targeted Black communities, leading to mass incarceration and cycles of poverty. This isn't about a few bad apples, it's about a system built on bias. Justice for some, and just us for others. If education is the great equalizer, America's making sure things stay unequal. There are 2 school systems, one for the wealthy and white, with resources and opportunities, another for the poor and non-white, with overcrowded classrooms and crumbling buildings. Majority white districts receive $23 billion more in funding than those serving mostly students of color. This isn't an accident. It's the result of funding schools through local property taxes, which benefits wealthier, whiter areas. Students in under-resourced schools are less likely to graduate or access good jobs. Imagine 2 kids in the same city. One has a robotics club and counselors. The other has leaking roofs and a single counselor for 500 students. Both are smart, but the system gives them vastly different opportunities. To pretend they have an equal chance is to ignore reality. The educational chasm is real, and it's by design. The system is broken, but anything built can be unbuilt. Change is possible, and already happening in pockets across the country. First, we need aggressive policies to close the racial wealth gap, down payment assistance, investment in Black-owned businesses, and equitable government contracts. Studies show these policies work. They neutralize bias and get resources where they're needed. Second, we must reform justice and healthcare, move away from punitive policing, invest in community resources, expand Medicaid, and train medical professionals to recognize bias. Finally, we need educational equity, overhaul school funding, direct more resources to students who need them, and teach honest history. A generation that understands how inequality was built will be better equipped to dismantle it. It's about giving every child the resources they deserve, not just what their neighborhood can afford. The solutions aren't a mystery, they require courage and commitment. We can't fix what we won't face. The blueprint for a fairer future is already here, we just have to build it. We've journeyed through the 2 Americas, from leafy suburbs to neglected inner cities. The disparities in wealth, health, justice, and education aren't coincidences. They're the result of a system designed to create and maintain a racial hierarchy. Acknowledging this isn't about blame, it's about responsibility for the house we all live in now. The path forward starts with an honest, uncomfortable conversation about systems, history, and the ways race still shapes opportunity. What part of this story surprised you? What statistic made you angry or hopeful? These are the questions we need to ask, out in the open. Change requires a coalition of conscience from every community. It requires white Americans to use their privilege to challenge the system, and policymakers to enact bold, evidence-based solutions. Ultimately, the goal isn't to patch the cracks. It's to build a new foundation, where zip code and skin color don't determine destiny. The problems were created by human hands, and they can be solved by human hands. The work is hard, but it's the only way to finally close the distance between the 2 Americas and become truly one nation. Thank you for watching Informed Tourist, the channel that brings everything travel-oriented. If this video helped in any way, please hit that like button and subscribe. Now sit back and enjoy this next video.